Hey guys, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our vintage coffee pot. We're gonna jump right in here and begin with some paper piecing. Now, I've already done a little bit of pre-prep ahead of time just to save time, especially on the very repetitive things here. So you're gonna wanna find this piece here, and you can see that I've already put down 4 of the pieces. Now, there's 2 different sets of triangles here. This is like a perfect triangle. Well, not perfect, but well, you can see that this one has a, where was it? Well, almost a 90-degree angle here. You'll notice that this one is a little bit shorter. Okay, so the shorter ones go on this section here, and then the 2 longer ones are going to go here, and we're going to glue those down like so. Now with these, when you're gluing these down, you want to make sure that the tip of this is pretty much flush with the top part right here, the very top there. Okay, so again, just make sure that the very tip of this triangle here is pretty much touching the very end of the top of that. And then as you bring this down and lay it down, just make sure that you keep a nice even border on the 2 sides there. Okay, so we're going to do that again. You are going to repeat this 5 more times, including the one I'm holding here, for a total of 6. Okay, so we'll just get that right in place, making sure that it's nice and centered. And a little bit of excess glue there, just kind of getting rid of that with my fingernail. And there we go. Now there are, well, let's look at the handle real quick. So I already pre-assembled one side of the handle. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 of these and then glue them back to back. Now you'll notice that there is a little tab on both of these, okay? And this section here is only going to fit one way, okay? So if you try to, well actually, if you try to put this one on this side, you see how it doesn't sit flush, it like angles weird. So it's only going to fit one way, where when you have it centered, it creates a nice even border all the way around, okay? And you want to flip these up, these little tabs, because you're going to kind of use them as a guide for placement of this piece. So let's get our glue on this little section here. And my glue is really flowing here today. And you want to kind of push that up all the way as far as it'll go, up against that little tab, making sure that it's centered. Same with that one, and then just press that down into place. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And you'll notice also that there are a series of little score marks in the center of the handle, and that is for our little gold accent piece that I'm going to put into place right now. And just get it nice and centered, like so. There we go. Okay, all right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to glue these back to back like so, but we're not going to put glue on these tabs. So the tabs we're going to leave alone, but we are going to put glue on the main part of the handle. Just make sure you get glue out to the perimeters as well as you can, and then just glue these back to back. Again, we are not, I repeat, not putting glue on the actual tabs. We're going to use those tabs to anchor this into place once we have the main structure created. Okay, but that is essentially our little handle. And I'm going to just put that down flat, give that an extra press. Okay, so these pieces are ready to go along with this. We can put that off to the side, and we can take a look at the main structure here. Now, I have already put down a few of the panels, and we'll go over them here in a second. But what we can do, and I've actually inked these with a little bit of dark red. Now, as far as positioning on these, the panels are going to be flush with the very top here. Okay, so you want to make sure they're all the way up to the top. And for these sections, you want to make sure that the little slits are aligned correctly. And of course, we're going to have a little border around the outside and then a smaller border at the bottom. So let's get these 2 in place, and then we can talk about where the rest of this goes. You you want to make sure that you put a little bit of glue out to that very pointy tip where that slit is as well. And of course, you want to work the perimeter, and then just a little bit on the inside will do. And just make sure that you line it up with the right slit. Again, flush with the top. So I'm kind of starting there and getting that right in place. That looks great. Had a little excess glue down there, but that's okay. All right, wonderful. And we'll do the same thing with the other side. Okay. All right. Again, flush with the top. That's kind of where I'm starting. And then looking at the sides to make sure that the border is nice and even. And then the slit just kind of falls into place. And of course, the bottom automatically finds its home. Let me just scoot this up a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so these two with the slits are in place now. Now, I already pre-glued this one. This is one of the two panels that has the little leaves cut out of it. So that's going to go here. Okay, and then you'll notice that on this section, you've got two little slits cut here. That's for the handle. And on either side of this section, this seam that has the little slits, are going to go solid panels. So one solid panel on the left, one solid panel on the right, and then the only section of the main structure that's left is this section here, which you're going to glue the panel that has the little leaf cut into it. Okay, so again, flush with the top, nice and centered, so you have a nice even border, and then voila. And that just falls right into place. Okay, so again, solid leaf. And then leaf, you can see that the leaf on both of these is all the way on the left-hand side. And then for this one, obviously, you need the one with the slits for our little spout. Okay, so that's done. And we can move on to, well, let's see here. Let me put these under my mat, let these dry nice and flat, and we're going to build our little compartment. Okay, and that's made up of these two pieces. The first thing we're going to do is join these two sections together by putting glue on this really large tab. Okay, I'm going to throw a little bit of glue right along the base. Spread that glue out. Okay, and then pop that on flat. Grab the other side and line it up. Just making sure that the top, whoops, it's okay. It's actually not even going to be seen, really. Making sure that the top is nice and continuous there. I can fold this over onto itself. If I need to give this a little bit of a nudge, I can. I'll press that down. Okay. And we're going to close it up now by putting glue on this other large tab, like so. And I'm going to spread this glue out all the way to the very edge of this tab. There we go, like so. And you can actually lay this down flat and bring this other side in and lay it right on top. Should match up perfectly. Okay, give that a press. And this is actually, like I said, the little compartment for our little gift, which we're going to put some coffee in. Okay, so now I can take this large shape, move it out of the way, and we're going to bring these little triangles in. And I'm going to go easy here, but still kind of make it thick, but focus my efforts on the perimeter. Go a little bit thicker because I'm going to spread that glue out. It's even though it's a simple shape, there's a lot of surface area here to cover, so you got to put that glue on a little bit thicker than usual. And I'm going to spread that glue out all the way to the edge. That one might be a problem. I don't know if I got enough on that one. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to take and we're going to focus on this side here, getting that aligned with this side here. First and foremost, get that nice and centered. There we go. And then the rest of it usually just falls into place. There we go. Just run your finger along the perimeter, making sure that that's making good contact first and foremost. And then you can flip it over and push down on the rest of those tabs from the inside. Okay, check your work. And if there are little areas that aren't making good contact, it's probably because you let them go a little bit too soon, just like I did. And that's okay. And luckily, I went a little bit heavier, and I think it's going to be okay. And it sure is. So, because we're putting some heavy things in here, we're actually going to triple layer this. I'm going to add 3 layers at the bottom, okay? And just need to just glue those on. Okay, so one at a time here. Just throw some glue. It's kind of a large piece. Get your glue on there. Work that out to the edges. A little bit inside, and then I'm going to do a nice line around the perimeter so I can really paint that glue out. And it's already drying up. You see how fast that's drying up lately? This video and the last one, I think, again, I think it's because of the humidity. All right, so we're just going to pop that right into place. Get it nice and centered all the way around. Start running your finger around the perimeter. If you need to, you can kind of just try to spread your hands out and your fingers and try to push down on as much of that surface area as you can. I think I got pretty much all of it covered, actually, so that's good. That'll help it stay in place. And I'll show you a little trick here in case you didn't get it all down in one fell swoop. You can also push that down from the inside a little bit. Okay. I've got a little gap right there, but I also have a scrap piece of paper that I can throw a little bit of glue on and just tuck it right in there. Okay, whoops. And then just press that little area down specifically where you needed a little extra TLC. Okay, so anyway, okay, so we've got the second layer down. Just gonna repeat the same thing. You're gonna put glue on this and glue it down again to give it a triple thickness, make it nice and sturdy. And that's it for our little compartment. Okay, so at this point we can begin putting together the actual structure. Don't worry about this, you're gonna glue that on there. For the sake of time, I'm just gonna skip that part for now. Okay, so we have these 2 sections. We're gonna glue these together using this tab here first. Okay, so get your glue on that tab, and then I'm gonna do a thin line right out to the edge. Spread that glue out all the way. Okay, and if you get a little bit that kind of encroaches onto the other layer or other side, just wipe it off with your finger, not a big deal. And we'll take this one, line that up, and there we go. Press that into place. Try to use as much surface area as you can when you're applying that pressure. It'll save you a lot of time. And we can fold it over onto itself and press down there. Make sure everything's holding nicely, and it is. So that's nice. Okay. And then we're going to close this up by putting glue on this tab, just like we did the first side here. No big deal. And nice line of glue right out to the edge. And fold that down a little bit. And spread that glue out. There we go. And then you can literally just put this down flat right onto that other side. And it should match up pretty much spot on. If it doesn't, you can bring it up a little bit like that. And that could just be my assembly of the other section, or it could just be the way that it was cut on the machine. Many different possibilities. And I just folded it over onto itself, onto the seam that we just connected. Yeah, and I think it might just be how it was scored, but that's fine. Okay, let me see here. That did not fully take. I may have just opened up an expired glue bottle I usually buy them in bulk, and sometimes they get mixed in and things don't work very well, but it'll be fine. Okay, so now obviously we don't have the top on this yet, but we're working on it. And let me see what happened here. Okay, so you can see once this is all complete, this is actually going to slide right on there. Okay. Okay, so now we can decide if we want to put the spout on or the handle. It doesn't really matter. We're going to do that now because, well, we can see through the top, and it's just going to make accessing it a lot easier. Okay, so the handle, obviously we're going to find these two little slits here. We're going to poke this through the little handle here, or the little slits, I should say. Okay, and you can see how that's going to look. And then what we're going to do from the inside, hopefully I can get some light on this. I might need to use my phone. You can see the two little tabs there. What we're going to do is we're going to spread those out. So let me see if I can show you that. Actually, I can prop this up like this. And let me grab my X-Acto knife. Whoops, sorry. Okay. So you can see the little tabs there, and what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on the back side of these, and we're going to push them up against the inner side of the little teapot. I'm sorry, the coffee pot. Okay, so again, we're going to put glue, and let me see if I can hold this like so. We're going to put glue on the back side. So this is the center. I'll call this the front. We're going to put glue on the back side of these tabs and then push them over onto the side of our little coffee pot. Okay, so I'm just going to do that real quick, and then I'll show you, because it might be a little difficult to actually show you this here. Okay, so let's show you that. You can see I've got glue, probably way too much, on both sides, and then I'm going to take and just kind of spread those apart up against the inside of the teapot, or the coffee. I keep calling it a teapot because I don't drink coffee, but there we go. And I'm just going to hold that for a minute, and I'll show you the final result here on the inside. And I do have a little bit of glue squirting out because I got way too much on there. I'll just wipe that off with my X-Acto or whatever you have. You can use a scrap piece of paper to lift some of that glue off, or when all else fails, just kind of rub it in with your finger. No one's going to see it once it dries. Okay, so let's take a look at the inside here. And you can see how I've spread that out right onto the side. So I got to do the same thing with the top one there. So let me do that. Let me get my glue in there. It might be easier to go from the top since it's closer. And actually, you might actually even be able to see that. Yeah, you can see that, okay. So I'm just gonna do a smaller dot of glue. I really went a little insane with the glue on that first attempt. Okay, so you can see that there. And I'm just gonna spread those out to the inside. And I'm pushing, just kind of sandwiching it right in there. I'll show you what that looks like here. So there you have it. Okay, so there's just spread right against the inside of our little coffee pot, and you can see how the handle works there. Okay, so now we're going to take and we're going to glue the spout in place. And you'll see here that I've got the little tabs folded out. Okay, we're going to stick these in, just feed them through, nice and easy. And it might be easier to kind of get both of them in at the same time. Okay, so that's going to sit like so, just like that. And we're going to take and glue these tabs down to the inside, just like we did with the little handle. So you can see I've got the tabs there pointing in. Let me bring one up so you can see the difference and see what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can see how that one's sticking up. I'm just going to push that over to the left onto the inside of my little coffee pot, and I may just do it from the other side since the hole is a lot bigger. I can get my hand in there a lot better. And it's okay if just one of those is in there right now. That might actually just be easier as far as applying your glue. And I'll show you what that looks like here. You can see I've got glue on that. I'm going to pop it back out and just leave that tab in there and push that tab up against the inside of my structure here. Make sure that it is in fact nice and lined up. Just like that. Okay, and we'll just take this and just feed it in the other side, like that. And there you have it. So of course we just need to apply glue to the other one. You can see that first one's in place, the other one's still sticking up. So we're gonna push that tab out of the way so we can get our glue on it. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. So you can see the other tab there with the glue on it. I'm just gonna take it and push it over onto the inside of our coffee pot and press and hold. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. Let me just make sure that it sticks. Now if you want, you can actually move this over, grab the handle and just push it over to one side. And you could technically take this and press down flat to speed things up a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look inside. You can see those two tabs right there, nice and flush up against the inside wall. Okay, and so we have our teapot complete with our spout. Now, just to kind of help keep this thing in the correct form, we can put it on top of the little base, and then this way, this part will stay nice and, well, in the correct... So now remember, you have not put your panel on yet, okay? And I'll show you why. Next step, after we get the little spout in place, is to put this little accent piece right at the top here. Okay, so we want to make sure that's nice and flush with the top. We're going to put this on in one fell swoop here. So get your glue on both sides. Make sure you get some glue all the way out to the very edges. And then just go ahead and pop it right onto the little nose here up on the top. And then just press that up against, in my case, the green cardstock, and just make sure that it is in fact nice and flush with the top. Okay, and you may need to kind of hold the very end of that in place there. And it looks like I might have not gotten enough glue in that little section. This is a little unconventional for me, but I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the tip of my X-Acto. It's a very small little area that I need to get some glue into, and that really is very precise and gets me exactly where I need to go. So again, no wrong way of doing this. Okay, so now that we have the little gold trim on there, now we can put these panels in place, and I wanted you to do that last so that we knew where to place it while maintaining a nice even border all the way around here. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit this with a little bit of ink real quick, because I did not ink this. Now I have tutorials on my inking processes on the website, so if you're wondering about what tools I use and what inks I use and things of that nature, definitely visit, or actually grab your smartphone and visit either the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and download the Dreaming Tree app. I have links to all the supplies that I use, most of them anyway, the common ones, under the supply section. It'll take you straight to Amazon, or you can just take the name and copy and paste it into the search on Google or one of your favorite online retailers, or even locally. Okay, so I'm just kind of hitting that with some ink. I did hit the rest of it with some ink just doing that for these pieces here. We're actually almost done, guys. This is going to go pretty quick, to be honest. It's a pretty straightforward little piece. All we need to do is put the little top on. And what else? What else do we need to do? Let me see, what is this doing here? Okay. All right, so as I mentioned, let me move this out of the way before I get ink everywhere. We're going to take these and we're going to glue them on, not like that, like this, so that we have a nice even border all the way around. So go ahead and throw your glue on this piece here and get that nice and centered on our little spouts. Make sure it's making contact all the way around. Now without the little gold trim piece in place, it might be kind of hard to figure out how to get this centered. So that's why we're leaving it for last here. Then we can flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. Just make sure it fits first. There we go. Get your glue on there. Just like that. And do your best to get that nice and centered there. There we go. That looks great. Okay, so let's get our top on and finish this thing up. You can see the nice little compartment here. Beautiful, looking good, looking good. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this piece next. We already have our panels on, and we're gonna close this up by putting glue on this tab. And let's spread that glue out all the way, bring that in, and get that nice and aligned with the other side. There we go. And if we want to, we can technically fold this flat and apply more pressure. I can actually get my entire palm on that. And there we go. Okay, so that's our top. And then we have this piece. When you get it, it's going to look like this. Let me flatten it out so you can see what it's going to look like. It looks like this. Okay. Now the outer edge is for this guy here. We're going to glue him in like this. Okay. And then the bottom is going to be used to connect this piece to the actual main part of our coffee pot. So we can start off by putting glue on just one of these tabs. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to stick. And find a side, any side. Get it nice and lined up, nice and flush. Right up to the bottom there. And we'll press that down. Can do that from the inside. There we go. Okay, so that looks good. And we're going to make sure that all of these tabs are nice and tucked in. So we're going to slide all of these in, like so. I probably should have waited a little bit for that side to cure. So I'm really kind of stressing it out right now, but that's okay. All right, and we're going to take and put glue on the tab opposite of the side that we just put glue on. So this one here. And we'll pop that in. Just make sure all the tabs are in now. Okay. Come on. And get that nice and aligned with the very edge. And press that into place. It's a little bit off. Got time to nudge it. There we go. Okay, just holding that in place. Okay, now you can see when we squeeze this, we're kind of giving ourselves access to the remaining tabs. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on the remaining tabs. and then let it go. And then get the rest of these nice and lined up. We had a little glue shoot out there, that's okay. Just make sure that the points here are nice and lined up where they need to be. And then just kind of go around and apply pressure to these tabs to get them to hold. And let's go over to the other side, get those in place, push those into place. Kind of like you're making a little pie crust. I always like to use that analogy. Okay, so that looks pretty darn good. Look at that. Okay, so now all that's left to do is take this piece, and we can take it off of the little compartment there at the bottom. We're going to pop this into the top. Doesn't matter which side, it's all well, it's all symmetrical. And then we have the tabs sticking through here. You can see the little tabs there. We're going to put glue on the back side of each of those tabs, and we're going to push them up against that wall. Okay, so I'm going to flare these down, and I'm going to show you where I'm putting the glue. And make sure to light it up so you can see it. You don't need a lot of glue, just a tiny little bit, kind of right in the center of each of these tabs, just to get it to hold. You don't want that glue squirting out. So take a look here. You can see I've got glue on each tab, and I'm going to start up at the front where the nozzle is, or the spout, and I'm going to push that tab up against the inside. I'm going to press and hold it, get that to stick. And then I'm going to go over to the opposite side, make sure all the tabs are in, and I'm going to take that tab and I'm going to push it up against the inside. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. Let me just grab this. Push that up against the inside. Make sure that it's nice and flush and lined up. Kind of using almost like every part of my body to do this. There we go. All the tabs are in. And once those first two get into place, now I'm just going around, and I'll show you here before I move on any further. You can see that tab there and that tab there along this wall is pushed up into place. You can see that one sitting nice and flush. The other ones are still have glue on them. You just need to push them up against the inside wall, just like that. I'm looking at it from the outside. I can feel what's going on inside. I just want to make sure that I've got the alignment as precise as possible on the outside. And then I can just press. I'm just going around clockwise now. Is that clockwise or is that counterclockwise? One of the two. Okay, so now I've got one more. There we go. So now from the inside, you can see all of those tabs pressed up against the inner wall. Okay, and that's pretty much it for that. Can put that on there, and then we do have this little piece that's going to go around the very bottom, and I'm going to start towards the front and definitely in the center of this. So go ahead and put some glue on the two in the center. Okay, and then using the little scored area, the fold, use that as a guide, place it on the existing fold, and pop that right on there. Just run your fingers along the very bottom to make sure that this gold piece that I'm putting on is nice and flush with the existing green piece. Okay, if you need to kind of nudge it down a little bit, that's fine. Okay, so that's nice and in place. And then all we need to do is take these and fold them back a little bit, and I can probably handle the other two here in one fell swoop. Go ahead and throw a little bit of glue on this panel or on this little accent piece. Make sure you get a little bit of glue out to the very edge, and then take it and just apply it to the remaining two sides on this one. Again, making sure that it's nice and flush at the bottom. Press down, make sure it's making good contact. There we go. And while I'm holding that one in place, I can fold these back and apply our glue to the remaining 2 sections like so, and just bring those over and glue those down. Again, making sure by using your fingers that they are nice and lined up and nice and flush with the bottom. Okay, there we go. If you need to kind of run your fingers along the perimeter, that's fine. So what we're going to do to top this off is just throw a little styrofoam ball up at the top. I will just hot glue that down. Okay, you can put whatever you want on top. Maybe you have a cooler looking little finial or whatever it is that you want to put on there. But we're not quite done. We do have a couple 3D flowers. They're actually very easy to put together. And we're going to do that real quick. Damn. Okay, so what we need to do first off is we need to train our little petals here. So I'm going to grab a nice thin little dowel. I'm going to grab my 3/8 inch dowel, and we're just going to take and train the petals down. Okay, so we're just going to go around in a circle, and I'm literally just pinching the petal between my finger and the dowel, starting at the base here, and just running my dowel kind of through it. And you can see how that makes it dimensional. So we're going to do that to all of them, like so, just like that. So you're going to do that to all 4. Each flower is going to require 2 petals, 1 of these guys. Okay, and what we can do with this to give it a little dimension is take it and just pinch it right at the tip. Give it a little pinch, like that. Okay, so to put this together now, what we're going to do, and I'm folding these back now, the actual petals are curved downwards, but we want to fold it up to the little circle in the center, like so that the circle's making contact with my table and the petals are kind of lifted up like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take and put some glue on the back of the first set of petals and get that nice and centered onto our little leaf. Okay, do the same thing with the next one. I'm going to take and fold these up. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this, and we're going to pop that right inside of the other one, but we're going to offset or stagger the petals so that they're not sitting right on top of each other. It'll make it look more full. Okay, just like that. And then, this is kind of a fun part. Let me see if this is, I know this one will be fine. I'm going to grab a little foam circle, and I'll grab my large little centerpiece of my flower, and just drop that right in there, like so. Okay, and then we have another small one. I think that's going to be a little too big for me, so I'm going to grab a little foam square. I'll put the foam square right on the back of that, and put that in the center, like so. And then, oops, we're going to put the flower right here on this side here. Now there's 2 sides obviously with this pattern. You're going to want to make one of these flowers for each of the sides. And there's actually little markers on there to help you with the positioning. Now I'm just going to put glue on this green round part, and then look for the little marker. You can see where it is, and you want it, well, essentially you want it right about there. Just want it centered. Okay, so that's that. And there is that flower. You can do the same thing on the other side by making another flower, just as I did the first one. Put whatever you want on top. Like I said, I've got a little styrofoam ball that I'm going to hot glue to the top. And then, as always, take a look at the final photo or the official trailer to see how we jazz this up with some bling. And that's it. Pretty quick, actually, and fun. Definitely useful, because we've got, well, once we actually put something in here, this will come out a lot easier. And definitely cool. You got a nice little compartment. And as you can see here, we've got a nice little bag with some coffee grounds, or not grounds, actual coffee beans that you can just pop right in there. It's a good size. I'm going to cover that right up, and it's ready for your recipient. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the process. If you did, head on over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so that you get notifications anytime we release a new product. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, visit us on the official Dreaming Tree group by heading over to your Facebook and doing a search for Dreaming Tree Group. You can join myself and the almost 27,000 dreamers that inspire us daily. And I don't have as much time to go in there lately, but when I do, I'm always impressed and definitely inspired. So anyway, hope you guys have a great Christmas, and I look forward to crafting with you again.